Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Hang on a second.
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
All right, good evening. I guess we're on the air, folks. Miracle of miracles. We did make it on the air. They said it couldn't be done, but we're here. Somewhere out there, we got Shane Matthews and Lost in Technology Land. You know, you work all day to get this thing resolved and figure it out, and you never can beat technology. It always wins. But through the miracle of something or other, we do have Shane Matthews on the air through the phone. The internet doesn't like him tonight. We couldn't hear him, but Shane, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Well, I'm miserable. Well, you know, it's. I won't even go into the bore of the listeners about what happened, but we all primed to go with a good show tonight, and we were up testing it and got it going. Everything sounded good, and suddenly we couldn't work. Enough of that stuff. Let's stop whining. I want to talk to you about what a terrific weekend it was for watching sports. We saw so many good things. And, you know, naturally, the first being the Gators winning the Super Regional. But that wasn't all. And then on Saturday night, the track team wins the national championship. Not to mention, I saw the Rays win a couple of games, which was fun. We had a tremendous finish to a golf tournament that I didn't expect, didn't even want to watch. And all in all, I know you like to watch a lot of sports on TV. Shane, I thought it was a great weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, it was. I was there at Condon Ballpark for the two games, and there was a tremendous atmosphere and a great effort by the Gator baseball team. And congratulations to them moving on to Omaha. And, the track team. I mean, what can you say about Mike Holloway?
Wow.
You know, wins a back-to-back men's titles and then comes up a little bit short in the women's and going back-to-back. So, yeah, and then the Canadian Open was a phenomenal golf tournament. It was great to see Nick Taylor, what he did in the playoff holes. So, great weekend. I think Father's Day weekend is going to be even better with the Gators out in Omaha. You get to watch that all weekend, and then you got the U.S. Open, which will be primetime golf for us.
Yeah, boy. Who knew June was going to be so good to us? And then you go through, I was going through the whole last couple of weeks, you know, the old saying, and it's a cliche, but it really is great to be a Florida Gator right now, starting with the golf team. And we've discussed this on your show and mine now for several weeks. The grit that team showed, battling back, we've gone over it, the matches, they were down and all of them, wound up coming back, winning the individuals, we know, and then winning the team championship. That sets the tone. Then we've got the baseball team battling back and winning the regional. What a couple of games that was with huge crowds. And I know Scott Strickland issued a statement today about it being really the atmosphere of the ballpark, as you said, was tremendous. And then we see the track team. And I'm going to make a statement right now. And you know how much I love Coach Spurrier, and Urban is a friend of mine and whatever. And there have been some great coaches at Florida. I don't know if Mike Holloway not be the greatest coach in Florida history. Think about what he's done.
Well, yeah, from a championship standpoint, it's not even close. I mean, he's got 13, I believe. And he's still going strong. And, you know, I was talking about it on my show today. I saw an interview with him, and they didn't perform that great in the SEC track meet, but he said we don't even really prepare for that. Yeah. We train where we're peaking to win the national title. And, boy, he's got a good formula.
That's so brilliant. And here's the thing about it. I got to think about the strategy of these coaches. Let's start with J.C. Sneed. And you knew him a little bit before the whole thing happened on your show, and how he was able to. And I'd never seen a tournament where you had coaches on the course like a caddy discussing the shots as their coaches did, Dudley Hart, whatever. And the way they came down the stretch, and they got lots of good counsel from these guys, although they began to doubt whether they could actually come back and win it. And the way they came through and won that thing in the clutch in 3 matches. I know people say, well, I don't care about golf. It wasn't just about golf, Shane. It was about team competition at the highest level of, you talk about, you think golf's an easy game? Try having a 4-footer for about $250,000. It ain't easy. I never had that. I know you probably did, Shane. But so you take the strategy of what Snead did, all right? Now you look at Sully. He goes to the SEC, and he really wasn't all in, but he wanted to win it, tried to win it, did, and got knocked out. Then he had his pitching set up just right. I mean, could you get better pitching than that? I mean, Sproat battled through a little bit. Walter was amazing. And the bullpen came through, nearly closed out, and their pitching was just come around just at the right time. Caglione, maybe he's going to start kicking in. And then you look at Mike Holloway. Shane, he had 7 events he could enter. He knew them. And he had it calculated. If they got enough points, they could get him in those 7 events. And they came down to the mile relay. What was it? 4x4. What was it? The mile relay, right? The last one.
4x400.
Yeah, 4x4. I can never get it right. You just call it mile relay, but 4x400. And the end, and they just smoked everybody. And they need Arkansas not to get as high as 4th. They didn't, and they clinched it on the last race. Shane, you couldn't strategize much better than that. Those 3 guys, and Sully too.
No, and what was intriguing about the track meet is, and I learned a lot about it this weekend. I think the third to last event was the 200 meters, and we had the favorite, and he didn't run real well. He came in like 5th or 6th. So most of the people that I was with that knew a lot about this track meet said we really don't have a chance to win now. And I think Arkansas kind of screwed up in the next couple of events, and it gave us an opportunity there at the end. But, yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks for the Gators. And I think this baseball team has a great draw when you look at the brackets. If they pitch well, which I think they're going to, they got this, in my opinion, it's the best baseball team Sully's ever had.
Well, yeah, and especially when they start hitting the ball. I mean, Rypels was trying to cover up.
The best, yeah. It's the most explosive offense he's ever had here. They've set records from an offensive standpoint that no other team has done. So, yeah.
Well, how about Rypel? He has 7 hits and 6 are home runs in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, really, Shane, do you think he's going to really not play professional baseball?
That's the way he sounds like it. I mean, in his press conference the other day, he said that his boss called him, and I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but it's so hard to make it and to make a living in Major League Baseball because you could be stuck in single A, double A, or triple A for many, many years riding buses.
Yeah, but if you can get drafted and you get a nice bonus, I admire him. I think it's great. He's willing to do that. But, boy, what a college player. We had a nice story in the Gator magazine by Kyle Curtis, who went to the berm and sat in the berm and wrote about the things around him. And one of the things he was able to see was the Rypels family, 12 of them right there in the stands. And they knew this is his last go. And there's really some tender moments there for them. So, nice story, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. I mean, I'm with you. It's hard to believe that this young man's not going to try to pursue, see what he can do at the professional level. But apparently he's got his mind made up, has a good job offer, and ready to move on to the next chapter of his life.
Yeah, Shane, and that plus the fact that we had good news on a recruit today. They got a 3-star offensive tackle, Mike Williams. People are talking about what a good get it is. He was committed to South Carolina, Shane, and they got him 6'7", 310 from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Shane, they're building some offensive line. They got some studs on that offensive line, don't they?
They do, as you know, buddy. I don't follow recruiting until they're actually in our uniforms. But I know there's a lot of. It's amazing. I've gotten to the point now on Twitter, buddy. Some of these people that have these somehow they pop up on my feed, whether I follow them or not.
They follow you,
and is that I don't know how it works, but they're so negative about every little thing. Like I looked at my phone while I was at the baseball game the other night because I got some text messages. I went to Twitter, and the last thing I knew, it was 2-0 South Carolina at the end of the middle of the first, and it was like the Gators their season was over. I think majority of these people never played sport don't understand that good things aren't going to always happen. Coach Spurrier's the last thing he said to every one of his teams before you ran out of the tunnel was, "Good things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen. Just keep playing."
Yeah.
And it drives me insane when I see all this negativity about this stuff. So I figured out now how to I don't follow them, but somehow they pop up. So I got them deleted or blocked or something where they don't pop up on my own.
You can do that.
Yeah. I just can't take it.
It's the reality. But right now, so much good is going on. Look, I know people call me a sunshine pumper and all that stuff and whatever. I try to have sustain a little bit of objectivity. You do too, and you've always done that. So I admire you, but boy, the good things are happening the last 30 days, Shane. Now they start getting some apples to fall from the tree in recruiting. All of a sudden, things are really looking good in Hogtown, brother.
Yeah, I think Bill and the staff are doing tremendous. All these guys are for what, 2024 that they're recruiting now anyway? Or I don't even know.
Yeah, 2024, yeah.
Yeah, so, we'll see. Buddy, we're not far away from fall practice. It'll be here before you know it.
I know. You heard about the guy that flipped, right? The running back from Florida that flipped to Georgia. Of course, people were really upset about that. I love what somebody named Sarah tweeted something. She says, Georgia baseball is sitting at home, and their basketball program hasn't won a game in the NCAA tournament in over a decade. Let's not cry over losing our running back when there are plenty to be happy about as a Gator today. Plenty of time to feel pain over mediocre football.
Yep.
Yes.
It is what it is. We'll worry about football when football gets here.
Exactly. How about Wake Forest beating the crap out of Alabama? 17 runs. The 17 runs that Alabama gave up, it's more than the total from every regular season football game loss they've had in the last 5 years. How about that for a stat? Let me read it again.
I want to say they hit 6 or 9 home runs in that game.
Yeah,
Wake Forest did.
6. Yeah. But think about that again. 17 runs by Wake Forest, giving up Alabama. More than the total from every regular season football loss Alabama's had in the last 5 years combined, which is 15. Whew, wow.
That's fun.
Amazing. So, all right, so you're going to watch NBA tonight, and I'm going to get to watch my Nuggets. I got to dig in here, and we got a late game on the coast of baseball. But you follow the NBA at all? And you follow the playoffs, I know.
Yeah, I watched the final. I'm watching it right now. It's not even. Miami could win tonight, but Miami's not even nearly as talented as Denver. Denver's going to win this thing before it's all up said and done.
They are. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I love Okovic. I love watching him play. I'm just coming to him late now and seeing what he can do. All right, so you want to talk a little bit about the U.S. Open? We'll probably do it on your show tomorrow. So today's U.S. Open at Riviera, which is a great track, by the way.
No, it's Los Angeles Country Club.
Los Angeles
Riviera.
Country. I'm sorry, Los Angeles Country.
Yeah.
You're correct. And I know that Rory was saying how stoked he is about playing there.
Well, I saw some pictures of the rough on Twitter. I don't know if I've ever seen rough that deep.
Really?
I'm talking like just right around the greens.
Yeah.
So it could. They're saying like 2 to 3 under can win this tournament, which means they're going to struggle, and I can't wait to watch.
I've never seen a tournament at the LA Country Club. I've been to Riviera many times, but all right. So some stuff is happening on some of these young players, and what a show last night. about the young Canadian winning as he did. I got to tell you, I found it at first. I found it hard to pull for Canadian, but the other guys are far in there too. And Tommy Fleet was one of my guys. I've had him for years in a golf pool I had, and it's not won yet. So I kind of root him. But boy, let's tell you, that crowd, I mean, that was tremendous. It made it a spectator sport, didn't it?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I was happy to see that for the Canadian Open. The atmosphere was unbelievable. The celebration on the green afterwards, and I don't know if you saw it, buddy, but did you see Adam Hadwin, who's on tour?
Yeah, he got hammered.
Just got clobbered. Good thing he didn't get hurt. Good thing he didn't get hurt.
They thought it was a spectator apparently, and just the guards just tackled him, right?
Yep. Yeah. They took him down pretty rough.
Yeah. That was...
But I got a question for you. I don't know if you saw it. You don't follow college softball like I do.
I know that Florida's looking for a pitching coach.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, they got two really good pitchers coming in. Yeah. But what are you don't even know this, but what are your thoughts if this were to happen?
Okay.
The best team in America, who went 60-1,
Oklahoma,
who had the best player in America at pitcher, is transferring.
I saw that. Is she going to the portal or is she going to school?
She's transferring to Nebraska.
Oh, really?
She's from the state of Nebraska and wants to get closer to home, but that makes no sense to me at all.
Really? I can make sense out of that if you want to go home.
Well, she's been there a couple of years, so I mean, why the hell you want to go to Nebraska?
Because that's where she's from, Shane. If you had a chance to go to Mississippi, you'd go too.
No, I wouldn't. I'd want to win another national title with Oklahoma.
Maybe she wants to take it home. Yeah, that's a good point, though. Well, look, she deserves. You're the one who always said, "Let the kids do what they want to do." Right?
Oh, I agree, but what I'm saying is that tells you how stupid college athletics is today, in my opinion.
That's getting hard. You look at the baseball stuff, and you see, and every baseball team's got some guy with. They got they have like 8 guys who came from the portal on the baseball team. It's amazing.
Well, buddy, the dude that pitched the greatest baseball game I've ever seen is a Gator.
Yeah,
it's from the portal. He pitched for Southern Miss last year. That dude that we just talked about, that's not going to take. Yeah, he's not going to pursue his pro career. He's from the portal.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. That's where they're coming from. Man. No question about that. Yeah. Walters was just pitching for not, but what a pitching gym that was. I'd like to see him be able to go the whole 9. He almost did. And Ryan Pell was such a popular guy, that he made it. Now tomorrow morning, what are we going to talk about? We're going to do our picks tomorrow on your show.
We'll do some golf picks. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do some U.S. Open picks.
I'm not ready to do my picks yet, Shane. My mind's not around it. I've been battling technology furiously for that.
Well, you got time. You got all night and tomorrow morning to study.
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's pick at least one off the wall guy. Okay. We'll pick a winner, and then we'll pick somebody off the wall that maybe some people haven't even heard of. Right.
Yeah. You're talking about for tonight?
No.
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We can pick one off the wall tonight if you'd like. He's not that far off the wall, but
I haven't even looked.
All right, tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow morning on your show. Shane Matthews.
This is kind of an off the wall. I mean, it's really not off the wall, but I'll take Max Homa. A lot of people don't know who Max Homa is.
Yeah, Max Homa's playing great right now. He is. Yeah.
But the average person probably has never heard of Max Homa.
Well, this is off the wall. So I'm going to take Tony Finau.
There you go.
There you go. There's our 2 off the wall. We'll give you the winners tomorrow on the big guys. These are just long shot bets. Shane, we'll talk to you in the morning, buddy. Thank you much. Sorry about all the tech stuff.
All good, buddy. Have a good night.
All right. Shane Matthews. So I think we've got Matt in hope we can get him up in the orange and blue room because the audio wasn't working for Shane, but it was working great for Brendan. Matt?
How you doing?
Oh, you're working. Thank goodness. I was afraid that. Stand by while we do it. While we do a quick commercial, okay? Because Shane can never get his audio work. Stand by. Last time I talked to you, I said I want to talk to you about a family business, which you have, and you and your son, Kerry. who Kerry, of course, is a well-known attorney out in these parts. You guys have done so well in your business, but take me inside the organization and tell me what's it like when dad and son kind of get in there and don't agree on things.
Well, there's two dynamics going on, right? It's lawyer to lawyer and father to son. So sometimes, when the father and son stuff goes on, you have to take a break for a minute. You just say,
Yeah. Take a beat. Yeah.
I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back.
That's better than shouting. Shouting doesn't work. No, for sure. Well, being in my business, I have my son Brendan also worked with me. And it's been a test for both of us. I pity him. It's like I pity Carrie having to work for you. But bottom line is, it's an honor. Though, really.
I know your son, and he's a great kid.
Yeah.
And we're both very blessed to have
You're right.
our kids work with us. And look, it's a blessing in most regards. Sometimes it's challenging. However, there's a level of trust that you have with family that you can't replace with anybody else.
All right, Jeffrey Meldon, you're right. Jeffrey, about your son. He's a heck of a guy. Kerry's a good lawyer and a good guy. Here's a good guy. I got to give him some kudos here. All right. This guy has turned into a little, I don't know if I'd say diamond in the rough or what I'd say exactly, but I know that he's really doing a great job for us. So great to have him on board. He's been an absolute, I don't know what do you say when one guy carries the whole team? He's in New York right now, but Matt Quateraro has been with us for a while now. He's knocking out a lot of good stuff on recruiting, and he is now officially, listen to this, Matt Quateraro is officially our recruiting analyst. All right? How about that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've been, I know you do. Let's just take a second here and talk about what all you do, okay? You do radio, play-by-play. Tell me, you're what? You're a senior this year?
Heading into my senior year now, yeah.
Florida.
Doing the written stuff obviously here, and then play-by-play and the frequent Buddy Martin show visits.
Yeah. What do you? We talked about this before. Growing up in New York, who your favorite writers were, and being a New York guy, you have to understand. It's like Giants or Jets. You got to pick your squads for sure, and that's how they identify themselves. You were a Giant guy. Usually, Giant fans are the older guard in New York City, around there. So tell me about your affection for the New York Giants, and do you remember way back in the days of Ray Perkins and Bill Parcells and all that?
Not too much. The earliest Giants
memory I have. Your dad.
Oh yeah. My parents recall that. The earliest Giants memory I have is probably like 2006, before they won the first Super Bowl, which is cool, but doesn't go that far back.
Favorite Giant for you?
Eli Manning, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer.
Eli Manning, good choice. Yeah. All right, so let's long through you got to be a Knicks guy, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean, when you're a Giant fan, you're a Knicks fan. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And then so that leaves us with hockey. Who's your favorite?
Rangers.
See, that's it. If you're a Giant fan, that means you're a Ranger fan. That means you're a Knicks fan. And now baseball.
Yankees.
That's it. That's the pattern right there. Those four. You're just that is kind of like the DNA of a kind of old school New Yorker in a way. That's what they all. If you're, you're not a Long Island guy. You're not anyway. So listen. I want to, in a minute we got here real fast before France jumps on. I want to say thank you for the good work you're doing. I'm really proud of what you've been doing. Proud of what we've been doing. Our team. Boy, we had a really good week over the weekend. Our guys are all working hard, just pounding away, and I'm really proud to be a part of this Gator Bay team. But I wanted to say to you, we had a good story today for Gator fans. How significant is the signing commit they got today?
So I mean, it's huge. It's really the first one that we've seen come out of these June visits, which I know Gators fans have been eager for because everyone wants, as good as it sounds to have these guys on campus, everyone wants some commitments. So it's good to get the ball rolling there. It's also the first offensive lineman of that 2024 class. So obviously, DJ Lagway was excited about it. He was hitting social media excited about the commitment. And I mean, he's going to be a great addition to that offensive line, especially once he gets in with the coaching staff and really develops to his full potential.
They're getting some dudes on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And we see where he's going with that. And I'm going to ask you your take on this, and we're going to jump in with Franz. Unless you want to add anything you want to add, go ahead. But there's some feeling maybe now, and I don't want to just overstate it or be a sunshine pumper. There feels like there's a little momentum going on right now. Well, not just football, but going back, as we said, the golf team wins a natty next year, and they come back and win that. The track team wins a natty. The baseball team wins the regional. They're starting to make a little headway on recruiting. What is your generation group? What do the students say about it? Are you a member of the fraternity ATO with Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know you guys are talking in the fraternity house. Talk about what's going on, how you feel. What's all the talk there among the ATOs about this football program?
I mean, well, I think the most important thing is, you hear the thing about Florida being an everything school. And I think that the last couple weeks has really proven that. And even so, just the last couple months, I mean, gymnastics had a fantastic run as well.
Almost won it.
I know, and that was amazing to watch. Trinity Thomas was amazing to watch, and now all of this that's happening in the last few weeks, and the recruiting's picking up. Not just for football. I think one of the best stories coming out of all of this right now is the basketball recruiting as well.
How about Bowl?
7'1"
guy, right?
Todd Golden, he has absolutely just rejuvenated that program in such a short period of time, and taken what could have been a mess of a roster if Kugel decided not to stay, and has turned it into what should be a top 25 roster.
Please, Riley, don't leave. You're my favorite player. Don't go, Riley. Please stay. By the way, talking about basketball and how he's doing, and you're saying, I mean, basically what now? He's got one of the top three classes out of the portal list, spring friend zone. France, would you agree with that? What Todd Golden is just setting it on fire right now. And I read today, maybe you wrote it, Matt, that he's got maybe one of the top 2 or 3 classes out of the portal in the country, right, France?
Well, he's got a class in the portal that's going to get him among the top, I'd say, 4 schools in the SEC next year. Gators have addressed their needs. They've got 6 big guys. They've got 1 6'8", and everybody else is 6'10" or better. He's going to sign one more. I feel he's going to go after a 6'6", 6'8" type who can play the wing, can post up a bit, etc. He's got all the guards he wants right now. He's got guys who can score. He's got guys who can handle the ball, etc. like that. If he were to bring in another guard, it would be a pure point. It would be somebody that he can just bring in and say break a press and dribble the ball up the court, etc. like that. But he's really done this. I don't like to compare football and basketball, but you look at what Billy Napier's done with his football recruiting and how he has systematically brought in guys that fit his profile, that fit what he wants to do. And that's what Todd's done here. He has not taken the approach of bringing in guys that just because they have the most stars beside their name or the most this and the most that, he's picked up guys from the portal who fit what he wants to do. The Rishwain kid, the most recent one, this is a guy that can shoot a 3, but the biggest thing he's being brought into is you can put him in a game and say, go take this guy out of the game for the next 3 minutes, and defensively he will take somebody out. He's that kind of a guy.
Okay, let me get Kyle. Let me get Matt out of here. He's got to go do some stuff. But I wanted to get a quick exchange between you two. And France, you and I will finish up. But I wanted to say, which recruit, and by the way, Matt is our official recruiting analyst now, and we're being joined by a terrific Alec Peak Wilbur, whose podcast, I think. Have you seen her podcast at all, Matt? Alec Peak Wilbur.
No, but I've heard you raving about it.
Yeah, you need to go. You need to go watch her. She is really good, and she's going to be a member of our family. She does her YouTube podcast, which is terrific. She had a really good one this past weekend. She follows recruiting very closely, and she's about a 4 Gator legacy with her father and her grandfather and her husband. They all played sports there, and Allie's a sharp young lady. She's going to start doing Allie's Most Wanted every Wednesday, of who she wants to see. So I'll say to you, and I don't know who all is left. Let me ask you 2 things. Who's the player that Florida has got committed in football now, besides Lagway, that's got you most excited? And then who was the one you want the most?
I'll let Franz go first, or you want me to go first?
Well, you can go. Either one. You go, Matt, and I'll let you get out of here as soon as. So what player besides Lagway commit football excites you the most?
I'm really excited about Miles Graham.
That's going to be my guy. That's really who I was going to say, yeah.
So we got really good news about him this weekend, that he's shutting down his recruitment, which I think is fantastic. I think that he's going to be an absolute force at the linebacker position, and I think that he'll be as a leader as well, which I think is something very important, especially being able to tell that so early. Obviously, he still has a senior year of high school ahead of him, but just the way that he carries himself on and off the football field, I think that he quickly becomes a prominence both on the field and in the locker room.
France, you want to go with first your favorite so far?
I like Isaiah Williams out of Tampa. I think he's a real field stretcher. He can get behind people, and when he gets some solid weight on him, he's a skinny 6 foot 175. And he's got a frame that can probably he's probably going to grow another inch, maybe 2, and he's got a frame that could probably hold 200 pounds easily. But he's a guy that can get behind people. He can beat people off the line of scrimmage with his quickness. And why I say he's going to have to add some weight, because in the SEC, you got a lot of skinny guys, but you also have corners who are 205 pounds that can knock you into next week. Yeah. And you got to have that. But he's a speed guy. And Steve Spurrier made it, you never saw the Gators with slow wide receivers. Yeah. In Spurrier years.
The one I'd like to see him get, by the shoot from interrupter fans, I remember, what's his name from Ohio State? I was thinking, is Taylor, is that his name? What's the for the
Jeremiah Smith?
Jeremiah Smith, yeah. I'd like to see him get him. He's an Ohio State commit. That would be remarkable there. So that would be my want to. Who's your want to, Matt?
I mean, Smith can't not be the one guy. I mean, he's an absolute program changer. But in terms of who I really like left, I think that some of the guys that are coming in next weekend are guys that would be really nice to get. I really like Jamari Howard, who's one of the top cornerbacks still uncommitted in the nation. And the Gators might have a little bit of a leg up there. I think that he would be a really good addition on the defensive side. So if it's not Jeremiah Smith, I think that people's still outstanding. He's towards the top of my list.
France?
Jamonte Waller out of Picayune High School in Picayune, Mississippi, which is, by the way, the first coaching job that a pretty good guy named coached at Miami, Jimmy Johnson. He was the defensive coordinator there at Picayune High School when the Macomb Tigers went down there and played in 1966. I remember.
He says that because he was there, Matt. That's why he's talking. He was working there.
Yeah, I was there. I was there and watched. Picayune comes in there, and they got these 2 coaches out of Arkansas. The head coach put in the Notre Dame box formation, and then Jimmy Johnson puts in a 6-2-2 one umbrella defense, and nobody can figure it out.
We ran junior high school, ran the Notre Dame box. I hated it, and that was a million years ago. I've forgotten about the Notre Dame box. All right, well, let's let Matt go back to work. He's got things to do. So I talk to two old men. Hey, great job today, buddy. This is the guy. This is dedication, friends. Matt today had a story right on recruiting. It was the signing of the offensive tackle they got today, which is big news. And he had internet problems, and so he got the story written and could not get it sent. So he types it on his phone. Okay, at least he was starting to type it on his phone, and finally figured a way to get it on. Did you have to type the whole thing, or did you finally get your computer out?
Yeah, so I typed it on the computer. The computer stopped working, and then my phone stopped working for a little while too. So I had no way to get one from the other.
Yeah.
So I had to type it. That's all right. I grew up texting. It wasn't too big of a problem.
Yeah. Well, that's what you call. That's the kind of guy that friends I like. That's a committed guy, and when his friends get the story and get the story done, right? So good job. Good job by you, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy. Good stuff. All right.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Remember us now when you get famous, okay? All right, Matt. Thank you, Matt. All right, thanks. Good young man right there. Good young man. Francis, what a weekend. Wow. You were there. You saw it all at the ball yard, the Condon ball yard. And just talking to Shane Matthews, he was at the game. And everybody says, what an atmosphere. By the way, Kyle Curtis wrote a pretty nice little story about sitting in the berm and watching the ball game and covering the game. But, friends, kind of an amazing weekend for baseball. And could you pitch better than Hurston Waldrop? And even Sproat for a while. The pitching has come around. Sully's a master at getting him right at just the right time, isn't he?
Well, some coaches push guys too quick, and you see guys peaking early, and they've got it early in the season, and then late, everybody's got them figured out. And Sully kind of he does it just the opposite way. He lets guys have to pitch their way out of jams, and he's not afraid to leave a guy on and let him walk 6 guys in a row. Which is something we saw.
Go ahead.
It's something we saw, for example, with Caglione up at Tennessee. He walked 6 guys in a row, and could have pulled him a lot sooner, but he let him out there because you got to teach pitchers to handle adversity. And
True.
One of the things that bothers me about pitching at just about every level, and that includes the big leagues these days, is nobody seems to have a clue about how to pitch their way out of adversity. I was looking at something with Julio Sarmiento in the press box Saturday evening. And Juan Marichal, I know you remember him, had 6 or 7
very well, the Giants
seasons, had 6 or 7 seasons in which he won 21 or more ball games. Pitched 471 ball games in the big leagues. I can't remember how many innings, but it was an average of 8 innings a start. He had 244 complete games, which in his career, one guy's career, is more complete games than there have been in the last 3 years combined in all of the major leagues. Bob Gibson pitched a lot of innings and never had arm problems. And it's funny, but the guys that back then who pitched a lot of innings, and I hear people say, well, they don't throw as hard as they do now. Are you kidding me? I saw Sandy Koufax in person. I saw Bob Gibson in person. Bob Gibson could throw it as hard as anybody out there these days and times. He wasn't afraid to throw it and hit somebody between the eyes.
So what do you think it was? They could throw a complete game all the time and they never had an arm problem. What do you think it was, France? Because Paul Richards started this thing with 100 pitches. He came up with that analytic before there was analytics. Then so he started taking their pitchers out after 100 pitches. Why do you think it is that guys can't go but 6 innings?
Well, because that's what they've been trained to do. Is they've not been taught to pitch. They've been taught to throw. And we got a lot of people who are great throwers. We don't have a lot of great pitchers. And and I think that's a big problem. I've talked it over with a lot of people I know who played AAA, AA, got some who even made it to the majors, and they agree with that. We had such a thing as a four-man rotation. For the longest time, there was a four-man rotation. Then everybody started going to a five-man rotation. Five-man rotations, I didn't mind so much, but what I think happened was all of a sudden now you're starting to go with five-man rotations with 100 pitch limit. And I there's a thing in collegiate baseball today about some guys that over in Japan, kids who are 14, 15 years old who are throwing 2 and 3 starts a week, and they're not having any arm problems. And I think, buddy, I think, and I know the pitch count police would get all over me if I were to put this on Twitter, but I think there's something to be said about strengthening your arms. You and I grew up. I guarantee you, you played baseball. I did too. We're walking down the road. We're 10, 12 years old. We're picking up rocks and we're throwing them. We were always throwing something. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids don't do that anymore. Kids don't get out. They don't go throw rocks. I remember, going on a vacation. We go camping up at the Smoky Mountains and with friends who are also from Orlando. We all brought our gloves, but half the fun was we'd go to a new place, like, where there's a lake or a river or whatever like that, and there's rocks. And God golly, we'd pick something out and we'd throw rocks at it. But we had strong arms.
Hey, not to brag, okay, because I wasn't that good, but I pitched a 12-inning game as a kid when I was 15 to Babe Ruth, by the way, and I struck out 24 batters. Now, people didn't believe me, and I dug it out of the Star Banner about 10 years ago and found the clipping. Not that I was great, but heck, I would have pitched all day if they let me. If you pitched a kid 12 innings a day, they'd run you out of the country.
Oh, heaven! They have little leagues that are out there that say that a kid can't pitch 6 innings. I was one of the places of my outposts along the way. We had a kid who threw ambidextrously, and he had to go. His parents literally had to go to court to get an injunction that said because he could throw 6 innings right-handed.
6 and left. Why not? Sure.
Left inning. I actually covered a state championship doubleheader in North Carolina in 1970 when the pitcher pitched the first game of 3-hitter right-handed and then pitched a 2-hitter left-handed in the nightcap.
Stop it. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris Armstrong, the kid who hit 20-something home runs at JU this year and that played at Florida. His dad was Jack Armstrong, pitched with the Cincinnati Reds. He came here as an ambidextrous pitcher.
Yeah. I want to get something to you here that I was talking about earlier before you got on. And that is, if you look at the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, whatever it was, and you look at the championships that Florida has won, first in golf, well, and then the one in track, and I think I count the regionals, the championship, the super. But the strategy of these guys, these 3 coaches, was pretty remarkable. If you think about Sully wanted to win the SEC, but he set his pitching up, and you wrote about this, so he'd be ready for the regional. He set his rotation. If that cost him the SEC, he was going to live with that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now you go to JC. I want to say JC Sneeze, the golfer. I'll get it, the golf coach. Anyway, I'll get it in a minute.
JC Deacon.
Deacon, yeah. Deacon, who was the golf coach, and then his Dudley Farhart, his friend. And they had a system where they had the right golfers playing in the right singles matches. and they were coaching them on the. I'd never seen that before on the course, like a caddy, and they won a national championship in individual and one of the team. And he did a marvelous. He didn't too much coach, but I think mentally he had a strategy, and the kids bought into it, and they flourished. And now you got Mouse Holloway. What an unbelievable coach he is.
Yeah.
France, he had seven events he could enter, 7, and he knew if he got the right performances, he'd get enough points to win the national championship. And sure enough, he came down to the 4x400 at the end, needing to win it and get Arkansas to finish no higher than 4th, and he did it. They won the national championship again, and by the way, finished runner-up in the women's. That's some great coaching right there, France.
Well, a lot of people focus in on the national championships he's won. He's been the head coach of the men for 20 years, the women since 2008. He also has 8 runner-up finishes. Think about that. 13 nationals, 8 runners-up. The men since 2010 have never finished worse than 4th outdoors. Now, you think about that. We talk about the Bobby Bowden legacy of never finishing worse than, I think it was 5th for 14 years. Hey, Mouse has kind of got it going there too. Bobby never won 13 national championships, so Mouse has kind of done it. And here's the thing I love about him, buddy. This is a great story. This is a guy who was a volunteer track coach at Buchholz. And Pearlie Shelton, who was head of the English department there, she's the pastor at the Upper Room Church of God in Christ now here in Gainesville. Pearlie Shelton befriended him and said, Mike, you need to get your college degree. And she said, you could be so much more effective. She helped him get enrolled at Santa Fe and then do all the paperwork, everything like that. Got him to go back to school. He goes to Santa Fe, then goes to UF, gets his college degree. Next thing you know, he's an assistant at UF. Then next thing you know, 3 years after that, he is the head men's track coach. And then 2008, he becomes the women's coach too. What a great story, though. Talk about a guy that has, knows what it's like to come up through the ranks. I mean, this is a guy that he was being a volunteer at a high school.
Great story.
And look at what he has done.
Yeah.
And the Florida program is unquestionably the envy of every track program in the country. And I'll tell you something else that's interesting. You just hit on something that's pretty cool. Arkansas will load up. They'll send 10 guys, for example, running the 5,000 meters at the SECs. Mouse only brings guys and girls to the SECs who he thinks have a chance to score points for him at the Nationals.
And that's what I'm talking about, because that's what you're saying Billy Napier's trying to do. Be selective, right?
You got to be selective. You have to pick the right people for the right job at the right time. People that fit your culture, people that fit your philosophy, people who fit what they have to do to be great. You don't want people, I saw something, I was reading something today about an athlete who didn't want to be just good. He wanted to be great. And that's why he picked the place he played, was because he felt the coach there would push him to be great. And I think this is what Mike Holloway does. I feel that this is what Billy Napier is trying to do at Florida. I was told this weekend that Billy has turned down guys that have gone on their 4- and 5-star hoity-toity recruits to other places, and he's turned them down because of one of two things. He either didn't think they would fit the culture here well enough, or he didn't think that they really had it in them to push themselves to be better than good.
Right. Speaking of which, by the way, France, not to mean to interrupt you, but I want to get this in. How about what's happening in Athens and the problems they're having? I don't make fun of anybody when they have problems like this. They're having all kinds of of tickets and wrecks and deaths and things. The players are driving recklessly, and so much so that they had to kind of stop everything. And the president issued a mandate, and now they got a new protocol where, if it happens, beyond just a traffic ticket, more than once, they're going to have to go talk to the athletic director. They're getting serious about it, and all the trouble that these kids have been in. By the way, remember when Urban Meyer's kids got in trouble and how much they said he was a reckless coach and didn't care? How about that? As after a national championship, and so Kirby's got some problems to deal with there, and it's pretty nice not to have a credit card scandal where you got 14 kids in trouble, and that's one thing that Billy has done, and I'm sure that has a big factor in who he chooses as well, Franz, don't you?
Well, yeah, you notice that 9 Georgia players have been arrested since January.
Yeah.
9. How many players in the entire athletic program at the University of Florida have been arrested in this entire year? I don't remember.
I don't know if any have. Maybe, I don't know, perhaps. But you're not covered the police blotter, like people used to talk about. Yes, I hate it for the kids, but it can't. When you get a situation, when you get money, testosterone, the machismo attitude of golf of football players, what have you, mix some alcohol in there with that, and off you go. And it's a danger. And this is a dangerous season for this season right now when the coach doesn't have control of them. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of thing that's going on. Look, Georgia's got some real issues up there, and I don't care what anybody says. Kirby's smart. I talk to people who just think he's just terrific.
Steve Spurrier is one of them. He likes him a lot. He told me, he said he likes the way he coaches.
Yeah, well, guess what? He is. I like the way Urban coached too.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did. I didn't like what happened off the field when Urban was here. I really didn't. And some of that has to do with the coaching and the attitudes that will be tolerated. But then there's a second part of it that Urban addressed, and he said, the NCAA keeps making rules that make it less hands-on for the coaches, and yet the coaches are the ones that are held accountable for when a kid does something wrong.
Yeah. Franz, let me give you a couple of pictures here, for commenting on, and then I want to do a quick read, and I want you to finish this off for the night, okay? You take the last 2 minutes. Here's a picture that will be memorable for us right here, Franz, right there.
Oh, yeah. Down at the bottom of the pile, BT Riopel.
Yeah, boy. What a story.
Yeah.
Nice. So here's another one I want you to see. Maybe you knew about this and maybe you didn't.
Yeah, he's the player of the week in the league that he's playing. He's with the Aberdeen
South Atlantic League or whatever it is.
South Atlantic League. He's with the Aberdeen Ironbirds, which is a Class A. He'll be up to Double A by the 4th of July. Finish the season there. They want him in AAA next year, and they think that he'll be in the big leagues the year after for sure.
His little brother gets to do something though that he didn't do. Go to Omaha. So Derek's going to Omaha. And finally, I got to give you this. You know what's happening now in the PGA Tour and the golf. We do have the U.S. Open this week. Somebody sent me this today.
There's one that's out there that shows the Masters dinner, champion dinner.
Yeah.
It shows everybody in Arabic robes.
You mean this? You mean this one right here? Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Masters yeah. So, all right, real quick, I want to remind folks before fans takes us out about Titan MRI, one of our great sponsors. Titan MRI is worth a short drive to Gainesville. No insurance, no problem. You can pay with cash or card with same-day scheduling available. You start feeling better today. Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville location through Ocala, Marion County, and the villages. That's TitanMRI.com. All right, Francis, take us home. What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts go with Florida's catcher, BT Ryapel. This is a guy that is playing it because of the love of the game. And you got to love the game to sit back there and catch pitches that are 100 miles an hour and foul balls that go ricocheting off your head and your face and you got that face mask. But I've seen umpires get hit, catchers get hit in the mask with foul balls, and you got to wonder how they can handle it. And they get hit in the arms and the legs and whatever like that. And they just keep on playing. And you got to play that position because you love the game. And here's a guy that's already said, look, I'm not going to ride buses and beat the bushes in the minor leagues for a few years. He said, I'm going to get on with real life. He's going to have a job in the financial services industry as soon as the season's over. He's already got that lined up. He's going to be a graduate. He's already graduated from the University of Florida. He's going to be there. And he's a great story. And we miss out a lot on the great stories that are there in college baseball. Football, they're on full rides. Basketball, they're on full rides. Football, they all come to the University of Florida or any other SEC school, promised that they're going to be in the NFL someday. Basketball, the same thing. They come here because they're going to be in the NBA. No doubt about it. Baseball, they got 11.8 scholarships. Nobody's on a full scholarship. Not even a guy like Hurston Waldrop. Not even a guy like Jack Caglione. He's not on a full scholarship. There's no such thing as a full scholarship. When you have 11.8 scholarships that you got to distribute among 27 guys, that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And these guys play for the love of the game. They understand the odds because it's rare when a guy makes it to the majors without playing at least 3 or 4 years in the minors. Very, very rare. So these guys, I say this with a deep respect for what they do. They're here because they love the game. They really are. Yeah, they want the shot if they can to make it big. But you're telling me Wyatt Langford thought he was going to make it big when he spent his freshman year as the bullpen catcher?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Fabian's a kid that sat for 2 years. I still think Derek Fabian may play in the big leagues someday. I think he's that talented. But he's just, once again, to play shortstop ahead of Josh Rivera. Yeah. So, but these kids play for the love of the game, and I appreciate that about them. And so, as I've watched the Gators make it to this point where they're going to Omaha for the ultimate prize in college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a hats off to them for playing for the love of the game. It's different. It really is. Of all these guys, know they're not going. Most of them, they already know they're not going to play. They may play a couple years of minor league baseball, but they know it. It's not like it's a different story, and I don't see the love of the game. To be honest with you, I don't see the love of the game for the football and the basketball players. I just don't.
Well, the baseball players, and Brendan is putting some stuff up now on your piece that you wrote on the team going to Omaha, and very well done. Very excellent baseball coverage by Franz, by the way. And a nice piece that Kyle Curtis wrote today about watching the game from the berm. And I want to encourage you folks, if you're not checking out Gatorbait, GatorbaitMedia.com, you're missing out on what we think is the best coverage anywhere of all the sports, particularly baseball, football. Nobody's better. Franz Beard is the best basketball writer in America, bar none. Not that he can't do other things, he can. So come join us. We'd love to have you. Subscribe. We're going to have a fantastic season. It's going to be quite a football year. Who knows what will happen next? We're being joined by some really good people like Allie Peak Wilbur, and who'll be doing the Wednesday show with us. And, of course, our young interns. So proud of what Kyle Curtis and Matt Quarterwauer are doing. Then we got our friends like Dan Bond and others who write for us. So it's a pleasure to be able to bring this to you folks. And, again, Here's a story about the recruiting today that Matt wrote. Got an offensive tackle. Things are going better, looking good for the Gators in France. It's a cliche to say it, but it's beginning to sound like, again, it's time to say, it's great to be. You finish it up. Great.
Well,
great to be
Billy,
great to be
a Florida Gator.
Okay.
It really is. And folks, if you have been trashing Billy Napier, what the hell is this guy doing? I can tell you right now, he'll forget more football in the next 17 minutes than you'll learn in a lifetime. He knows what he's doing, and the Gators are going to be very good.
All right, Chris. Great stuff, friends. As always, writing and talking. Talk to you again on Blue Buds, Orange Blue Buds on Thursday. Read him in Gator Bay. Thank you, Francis. Great job. All right, Francis Beard, I want to go off the air with this comment about our friends at Renstar Medical Research. Folks, we simply could not do this without people like Renstar. The loyalty to what they do in their community and to this program is beyond what you could expect from anybody. I want to say that not only are they a good stakeholder downtown at Renstar, and that they do terrific things downtown, the people who founded this business have been in, and they have their great interest in Gator football too. One of them's son played, Joey Sorrentino. So that, and of course the aspect of the fact that they're looking after our health. They have a high quality patient-centered clinical research facility downtown Ocala. Cutting-edge clinical research trials are being held there on things like Alzheimer's and dementia, and psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia, along with many other things that affect us in this community. They want you to come down there and take part in some of these trials. You can, if you qualify for them, you come down, be a part of them, and perhaps be compensated for time and travel, and all be used for a better cause. So since the inception in 1998, Renstar has done over 700 clinical trials, and that information is shipped out to folks in the medical industry, the prominent pharmaceutical biomedical companies, and that's where they get their data from. So I'd like to include some of yours. If you want to be a part of that, go to renstar.net, look up the information. They'll be glad to let you know if you can qualify. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. I want to thank Brendan Martin, the man behind the curtain, who has been doing all the stuff tonight. After a rough start, not his fault, that we finally got things righted. And technology, we got Shane's computer didn't work, what it was. But we had a good show. Thank you to Shane. Thank you to Matt Quartararo, up-and-coming star for us here again, our new recruiting analyst. He's going to do great things. And, of course, the Iron Duke Franz Beard. On behalf of them and on Brendan Martin, I'm Buddy Martin. See you tomorrow night right here on the same channel.